What time is it?
It's Tuesday night, 10 p.m., and this is the C3 Podcast.
I guess you've heard of my reputation. I've had my share of fooling around. But everybody needs stimulation.
I had fun, man. Just out, you guys joking. We working at the same time. Putting the work in as a team. Like I said, man, I'm just glad to be with the guys.
My favorite night of the week.
Good Lord, it's a good day to be a Panthers fan. And we the best. You heard them. You heard them say it. We are the best, Joe. And we put it on them right in their mouth. Yo, what's up, Panther Nation? It's your boy, the Professor, a.k.a. Tony Dunn, and this is the C3 Podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. It's Tuesday night where Panther fans unite, celebrate what we all love and know the best, probably, and that is the Carolina Panthers. And we do it with our friends each and every week on YouTube, on Twitter, and here in this Google Hangout that we will then syndicate all over the place. And I'm doing it tonight with my friend Mel Mayock all the way from Las Vegas. What is up, Mel?
What's happening, Professor? How you doing, buddy?
I am great. And I'm choosing to be great. That's what I'm choosing.
There you go. Right on.
You are great. There's no denying that.
What's up?
I said you are great. You're greatness personified.
All right, for all you out there, that right there, that was Tony heard what Joe said. He just wanted to hear it again.
That's right.
Because it's the truth.
That's it. Well, hey guys, it is Tuesday night, and I tell you what, this is not the easiest week of my life. There's some stuff going on in my life that's pretty difficult, but you know what? Tuesday night is a great time to get together and talk about Panther football, talk about something fun, get away from reality a little bit. So I'm really looking forward to it. Let's get into it.
Joe, how you been? How's the Low Country treating you?
Oh, it's good here, man. It's been hot. It's hot all day, and then about 4 or 5 o'clock, you can count on it like money in the bank.
Pouring, thunder, lightning, rain, right? And so let's
lightning and like intense thunder and lightning.
Yeah, those big drops. All right, we're gonna go ahead and jump in tonight's show. It is episode 16.23, and I've got a long episode title tonight. The players rest, one retires, and the big cat is a Caesar. And we'll get into what that means later in the show. I can hear a little echo. Is that my microphone? I hope not.
I don't hear it.
Okay, good. That's good news. All right. So tonight we're going to be talking about Peanut Tillman's retiring. The players are resting, and we've got some good stories that come out of that. The fun, lighthearted things. Ben Wickery likes his Wi-Fi, and you'll hear about that later on. You can be a part of the show by tweeting us using the hashtag C3 or participating on YouTube in the comments section. I've been getting a lot of emails and feedback from people that listen on iTunes and Stitcher, so we appreciate that. Continue to listen, continue to spread the word. Please give us a rating and a thumbs up. Best thing you can do for Panther Nation to help us grow is to give this show a share. Tell a friend about it. Tell them on social media. Tell them how much fun we have together in the C3 family. If you're feeling frisky, you can also go to our website, or in the show notes on YouTube, or go to our website and go to podcast, and you can contribute to the show through our Patreon link. We got another contributor this week, another patron at the $4 level. So we'll thank him later on in the show tonight. So you can find that on the website. Go to podcast, go to Patreon. It's super simple, super safe and secure. You do it one time. You give us $1 a month, and it helps us grow this show and do cool things that we like to do, like support the Girl Gang, or have awesome fantasy football contests. But without further ado, guys, we've got to talk about Panther football because that's what we do best. And tonight, I think I'm just going to go ahead and jump into what is the hottest story, or I think has to be the biggest story coming out of this week and most important, and that is the Big Cat statue. On the Big Cat's birthday yesterday, they unveiled his 80th birthday a statue that is crazy awesome in front of Bank of America Stadium of him holding a football in triumph between these two big major cats. So Big Cat rolling with the Big Cats. Mel, do you like this statue, or was it a little over the top?
No, man, I think it was perfect. The Big Cat deserves it. You know, it's kind of rare that somebody deserves to get a statue while they're still living, but the Big Cat certainly does, man. I think the statue was great. You know, I heard one represents the Panthers defense, one represents the Panthers offense, and then both of them together represent North and South Carolina. I thought it was pretty cool.
Oh, is that what the two Panthers means?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. I didn't. That's cool. And right on the line. He's right on the line. All right. So here's some feedback from some fans on the statue. Got some interesting ones. Oh, that's Charles Johnson. Hold on. Richardson. Good Lord, Tony. Struggling, son. This is what.
Ice up, buddy. Ice up.
This is what Richardson had to say. He said that he was speechless, just overwhelmed. Thank you very much for being. He seems like a real down-to-earth dude for being so filthy, stinking rich.
Absolutely.
How did he get so rich again? By the way, was it Hardee's?
Yeah, he took his playoff check of $2,000 when he caught that touchdown from Johnny U, and went and started Hardee's. And then
that's interesting.
Heck yeah.
He started Hardee's? Like he just started it?
He was the man.
Right on. I love those thick burgers, man. I ain't going to lie. Okay. Let's see. I think I saw something else. I saw tweets referring to best statue ever, right? The one I put up. And that is from DM. I can't even read it. Hold on. Let me see if I can zoom in.
D. Macklin 72.
D. Macklin 72. That's right. And he said best statue ever. And I saw one that I got that I'm not going to put up, even though it blurted out. It said bad effing ass. Now, there was one interesting piece of feedback that I saw here, and this guy, Adam Bodley, said, I love the Panthers, but this Roman gladiator-style statue is absurd. So, it kind of reminds me, I think he is onto something about the Romanesque kind of thing. That's why I named it In Triumph. Do you know that when Roman Caesars led a great battle, there were always two of them during the Republic or whatever, and when they would lead a battle, they would come back and have a big parade that they called a triumph, and they would go through the arches. So if you go to Paris, they have the Arc de Triomphe. That's like going back to a Roman celebration of how they celebrated these victories, and they would parade all their winnings through the streets. I'm glad Big Cat didn't parade all his winnings through the streets, though. It would have made buying those tickets a little bit more difficult on me.
Still would have done it, but would have felt a little dirty about it.
Okay, so tell me, 80 years old, he gets this statue. What's the significance of this? I mean, not of the statue, but what Jerry Richardson is been able to do for North Carolina. How big of a accomplishment was it to bring an NFL team to the Carolinas?
Well, guys, I grew up in Matthews, just outside of Charlotte, right? And when I was a kid, I was born in 1971, so I kind of aged myself there. But growing up in the 70s in Charlotte and in the 80s in Charlotte, man, you can go to my profile at Panthers Drafter on Twitter, and you can Well, actually, out on Facebook, you can go check me out. I got a picture of 1985 Charlotte and 2015 Charlotte. What a difference, man. And putting us on the map. Now, granted, the Hornets were there first, 1988, and they kind of put us on the map, kind of paved the way. But when we went big time, when we went NFL, people knew where we were, who we were. Companies started to come to town. They had a way to entertain their clients, and, I mean, everything changed. We were a sleepy little town, kind of like Mayberry, where the streets rolled up at 9 o'clock in the evening on the weekends. Now you got everything going on, and it's changed Charlotte forever, and that's why I love the Panthers so much. It means so much to the city that I love.
Joey, what years did you live in Charlotte?
I was there like 93 through 97.
Okay.
So
So
right
you
as
were
they
there
got
when
me.
it was happening,
Mhm.
right? Do you remember the buzz about the team and the
Oh, yeah,
excitement?
everybody was talking about it, man. Everybody was talking about it, and people were excited to be making that trip to Clemson.
Yes, I did that.
That season. Yeah, I did too. I went and saw them play the Niners there.
That was your old team, wasn't it, Joey?
It was my old team. That's right, before the Panthers came into existence.
It's so weird that when they came into the division that they were in the West.
I know. That's
Like,
part of the
what
reason
was
they didn't
wrong with
play
the
around.
NFL at the time? Like, why? What were they thinking?
Well, at one time, they were right. They started with X number of teams and then added teams, and they had to decide what conference to put them in, what division to put them in, and then they realized, like, why do we have the Panthers in the West along with the Saints?
That was crazy.
And then why do we have Tampa Bay in the NFC North?
Well, God, they were in the AFC North?
Yeah, they would have to play Green Bay, Tampa, Chicago, and Minnesota made the AFC North. Now, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
It's like, maybe you shouldn't have geography as the names of your divisions if you're not gonna think about that when you're gonna add teams later on down the road.
Right, I think an alignment was way over. A realignment was way past due. Way past due. But
nobody's arguing with that one. No one's saying tradition. We got to stay in the West.
Battles, man. When the Packers would play the Bucks, it was the Bay of Pigs, according to Chris Berman.
That's right. I'd forgotten that.
Right, they had some intense rivalries. And the realignment sort of took away some of those older ones, but has since created some really intense new ones.
Mm-hmm.
Panthers Atlanta, Panthers Saints, Green Bay versus anybody in the AFC North now. The division play has become very intense and very rivaled. So that's one benefit out of it.
Joey, this conversation on YouTube is great. Lisa Ma said that she grew up in Gaffney, South Carolina. It was huge when the Panthers came. She said that she was also one of the people, like, they asked for suggestions. She said I sent in suggested team names when they asked for names. Like, that's on the ground floor, baby.
Yeah, man.
Right? At Scylla, and I need to figure out what this stands for. A-T Scylla H. At Scylla H. Now, Mel, this is going to strike your heart and mine because you got the red on tonight. He says this: my first game in Erickson Stadium was ECU versus NC State. The stadium was brand new and freaking gorgeous. Who won that game, by the way?
I'm going to say NC State did.
Whatever. Yeah.
Why wouldn't we expect him to say that?
I know. Joey, do you remember?
You know why? You know what?
I got a fun story for you guys, by the way. Oh, ECU won. Take that, Monk.
Fluke.
I got a good throwback story for you with Joey. So me and Joey go back to when I was like 15 years old, and we went to Joey. This must have been 1998, 97 maybe, when Vic and those guys used to take an RV that was their bosses to the ECU games, and we live in town. So if you bring an RV to the ECU game and you live in town, you're trying to do some legit tailgating. And we go to this football game, and it was the first time that NC State had played at ECU forever. It was something major, and it was a noon kickoff. And we got out there at like 7 o'clock in the morning, and we're drinking mimosas for breakfast. And partying. Joe did not make it into that game.
I did not.
And he passed out in the bathroom of the RV.
I did. I passed out on the crapper of the RV.
Okay, and he says, by the way, it's pronounced Agila. And it's a Cherokee word for fire. H is just the initial for his last name. Okay. Moving on. Let's keep going with some Panther talk. And that is, let's see. We got some, statue. Very cool. Very cool. I can't wait to get some good pictures of that.
The poo hat.
Really at that NC State game.
It's out. All right. Charles Johnson put out a tweet, and I do have this one. I thought that I didn't put it up, but I believe this is it right here. Charles Johnson tweets out earlier this week, since Nike didn't sign your boy back this year, looking for a new sponsor. And then he hashtag Under Armour, hashtag Pony Brand, at mention Pony Brand, at mention Puma Football, at Adidas Football. What is Pony Brand, and why would Puma be involved with football? Like, did he mean to spell that FUTBOL?
No.
Puma is involved with football?
I'm sure they could be.
But, hey, I've got an idea, guys. If everybody out there listening who can, and if you can't, no worries, but if you can, you go out, you sponsor our podcast, donate a few bucks a month. Hey, we'll sign up Charles Johnson. It'll be C3 sponsoring Charles Johnson.
Heck yeah. I don't know why he didn't mention us. I'll send him a pair of shoes.
Right on.
Yeah. Remember the Pony Brand shoes, Tony?
No, I don't remember the Pony Brand shoes.
Pony Brand.
Yes, sir. I was sporting those bad boys back in the 3rd grade.
Right.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, they've been around a long time. And
Lisa says, "Isn't Pony Brand like a Kmart brand?"
Exactly. It is.
Is it? Is it really? Oh.
But they
that's not what my mom said when she bought them for me.
No, of course not.
No, speaking of Kmart brands, I remember do you remember when the Reebok Pumps came out?
Mm-hmm.
And I was probably like in 1st or 2nd grade when the Reebok Pumps came out. And you know what I got? This is how they roll at the Dunn House. LA Gear Pumps, bro. That's what I got.
Nice. LA Gear.
All right, I gotta pronounce it again right, and it is Agila. Agila says this: Pro's kid is going to ECU, and that is true. So Ricky Pro's kid is committed to the ECU Pirates, so that will be fun. Maybe we'll get a little Ricky Pro action in Greenville at some point.
Hey, check it out. Joan just put up some pictures of her. I think those are her ponies from her closet.
No kidding.
Nice.
Where?
Check
on
it out.
Twitter?
Yeah, on Twitter. Hashtag C3, baby.
That's awesome. No, those aren't from her closet. That's
I was
okay.
just a little bit.
All right, what else do we got to talk about? I got some fun stuff. Sticky Wiki doesn't like slow and expensive Wi-Fi. He tweeted out when he obviously was flying. He said, "Charge all this money on a flight for the flight Wi-Fi that barely worked." And then he has this frowny face. I mean, at least have it working. Mel, you're the frequent flyer around here. Do you ever purchase the Wi-Fi?
Well, hey, no, I don't, because when you got status, they give it to you for free. We'll put it that way.
Oh, shush.
When you fly everywhere all the time is when they have. Is when they're like, here, please take this. It's like going to Vegas, you know, the big whales that they put in the hotel penthouse for free.
Yes, that's just how you roll, huh? I've never stayed.
No. Don't even front like that.
Exactly.
So tell us about this on-air Wi-Fi. How much is it?
Well, seriously, on Southwest, which is what I fly 90% of the time, because I have status, I get it for free. But when I fly across country on American or something like that, where I don't have status, it's like $10
for a flight. All right. What? All right. I think I iced up a couple of weeks ago somebody that was like the New York Post or some mess that was upset with the free Wi-Fi kiosks they were making in New York, and how homeless people were just going to be addicted to porn because of this.
You know how those homeless people are just all about porn, huh?
Yeah. Because when they're not scraping up and trying to scrounge up, I don't know, survival.
Exactly.
They're standing at kiosks is browsing whatever free tube site they can find.
Right.
My thing on this is, like, I feel like the internet has contributed so much to the world at this point, like in such a short span of human history, that it's just time to make it standard. And the idea that when I get on an airplane and you have Wi-Fi up there and the flight's like 2 hours and you want to charge for it, or even an international flight you want to charge for it, like, the Wi-Fi works no matter what. Like, it's working.
You know what kills me is you go to a hotel, you're paying $200 a night.
Another one.
They want to hit you up for $19 for freaking Wi-Fi?
For the high speed shit. Like, they give you the throttled mess.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's time to just say that the internet is so good that it is kind of like when you go to a restaurant and you get free rolls.
That's how we roll.
I mean, like, they don't charge you for napkins at a restaurant. I mean,
right. That's like going to a Mexican restaurant and being charged for the chips.
Right.
Exactly. T-Money wants everybody to check out his Saints videos that he's been putting up. He put up a new one today, I think.
Been missing T-Money, man.
He's been coming after those cats and making, I guess it's low-hanging fruit when you're picking on the Saints. Joey, you got some kind of cool news about the Saints that isn't really, that nobody up here will care about, but tomorrow night, what is going down?
That's right. Tomorrow night is the debut of Under the Dome. It is a New Orleans Saints fan-focused podcast. It is put out by our parent company, Fan First Productions, and this is the second venture for Fan First Productions, and I think it's going to do well. So if you are a Saints fan or know any Saints fans, please recommend to them the Under the Dome podcast. You'll find it. We're going to send out some links, and like I said, anybody you know that's a Saints fan, make sure to mention it, because they're going to have the same perspective we do for the Panthers, just for the Saints.
And their team will suck, though, but ours doesn't.
Exactly.
And their team is about to suck for a decade. Decade. They're going back to the old Saints. All right, more news for the Panther fans out there. Graham Ginn celebrated his 6th anniversary with his wife. So congratulations to Graham Ginn. And while we're on the nuptial train, Brandon Wager's getting married on Saturday. I also looked up his so I Googled it because I couldn't remember if it was this past Saturday or this Saturday coming up. So I went and Googled his wedding, and their registry came up. So I was like, I'll look at their registry, A, because I was a little curious to see what they would register for. Mm. And B, I was like, I'll buy him something small and send him a little gift from C3.
You should send him a candle.
Yeah, you know what? There's on the registry at Target, gift cards.
Oh, yeah?
Like, they just said straight, no, Brandon, I'm so sad because I want to see Brandon Wager being drug around with all those tattoos with that little gun you got to go in there where your wife, beep, beep, boop, boop, what do you want? What do you want? And then, like, I mean, you are scanning crap that is like, why are we scanning a peeler? Like a potato peeler. And this is a good point that my wife made, is like, not everybody wants to buy you some big ass crap, so you better give them something small, a small option. Come on, Brandon Wager, give C3 the small option.
You can tell it's a slow time in Panther history today.
Oh, okay. What else we got? All right, so
let's talk about some wide receivers. What you think?
Okay. Good news, and the reason we're going to talk about wide receivers is, speaking of friends of the podcast like Brandon Wager, one of our favorites and someone that we're rooting particularly hard for.
Susan, are you out there? If you are, speak up on Twitter. You're going to like this.
I know. Susan, we haven't seen you as much on. I haven't seen. You know what? She tweets like, I was about to say that I haven't seen her on Twitter lately, but I was going through for the fantasy football stuff and trying to find the pictures of the past winners. So I pulled up her Twitter account, and you can do an advanced search where you look at certain date ranges. And I couldn't remember when we sent her the jersey, so I did like January through June of 2014 or 2015, and she had like 7,000 tweets. I felt like I was like scrolling and scrolling. So I'm pretty sure she's on Twitter. But Susan, if you're on Twitter, but if you're listening or if your friends want to tell you, Damir Bird on the podcast next week.
What up?
Phone interview, so I'm going to record it on Monday afternoon, but we're excited to talk to a guy, and look, this is somebody we really truly want to see succeed. This isn't somebody that we half-heartedly believe in, is that this is a guy that we think that really could offer something to the Carolina Panthers. So with that being said,
sorry to interrupt you there, but to reinforce your point and to give you a chance to take a swig of your beer there, we are the only website that actually has an ongoing article storyline called Bird Watching, written by our boy Grant.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Absolutely. So that's our boy. We wanted this. We wanted him for a long time. Big, nice get by the professor.
Yeah, and second time that he's going to be on the show. He was a great guest the last time, so we're really excited. Next Tuesday night, Tamir Bird. And you know what? I might even release the interview early for my Patreon peeps, which you can do that. But, which we don't have a lot of things we can offer like that, so I might as well. What else is, we're going to talk receivers. So, here's the thing is, guys, last year going into the season, the wide receiver core was a huge question mark. Would you say that last season the wide receiver core was as questionable as the defensive backs are this year, or more?
I would say maybe more.
You think that the wide receiver core last season, there were more questions surrounding it than this season? Explain, Joe.
I say that because KB went down and was out. And we knew we didn't have anybody, well, we didn't think we had anybody that could replace him in any way. We were concerned about Cam because he had not, we hadn't seen the progression we saw in his passing style last year to that point. So I might dare say there was more concern because at least with the defense, the front seven is legit.
Okay, right, and you don't know if the running attack is going to be the same. There were a lot of question marks with Michael Orr, how well he would perform. We certainly weren't convinced that the offensive line was going to be great. We thought they could be good, but it wasn't like you had Adrian Peterson in the backfield, with a strong offensive line. And that's what you kind of have in the defense when you got a general like Luke Kuechly, you got a disruptor like K'Wan Short, and then you got maybe a budding star with Coney Ely. I think that's a good point. Now, Joey, if you continue, Mel, I'll let you answer it. Do you agree with Joey on this?
I don't. I mean, I think that was all good points by the freaking Puerto Rican. I mean, it certainly makes sense. But you look at this year's defensive backfield, both starters from a year ago are no longer on the team. One retired here recently, and the other one is up in Redskin country. So you got two rookies, and when you've got a rookie going up against the likes of Julio Jones, et cetera, where the defensive backfield is so heavily reliant upon good communication. It's not just your skills. Can you run 4-4 and jump? But can you communicate who's going to cover the flat when a certain look is given? Those are the types of things that, I'm nervous about for this year, especially for the first 4, 5, 6 games. I'm real nervous about it.
I'm not excited about it because for a long time, and I say this, and I know that people that listen to the podcast over regularly are like, stop saying the same crap, Tony. And we held our breath on every passing play for a couple of years. From about 2010 to 2015. To be honest, is that we had to. Things got a little better towards the end of 2014, but Antoine Cason came out and played a good game in the first week. And was it the second week, Joey? What was it? We were there for that Detroit game. It was the home opener.
It was week 2, yeah.
And he played well. And I remember because Scott Karasik was giving us so much crap about how bad Antoine Cason was. And I wrote a story that said Cason closed. And you know what? The Cason is closed. That dude did suck. And I was totally 1 week will not tell you anything about secondary. So we held our breath for a long time, even in that 2013 year where we had the tremendous 12-4 season. It was god awful back there. They were bad. They were bad. They weren't even. And Mike Mitchell looked good, and he wasn't even great. Do you remember that Miami game where it was down to the 4? There was like 4 seconds left or 10 seconds left on the game.
And they had to cover Mike Wallace.
Yeah, and that's the only play that the whole team, everybody knew what was going to happen. Mike Wallace was going to run straight and towards the end zone, and you just can't let that dude get behind you. And what do you know? Damn, he's 5 yards past the guy. I would have stood on the goal line.
And does everybody remember the famous Matt Ryan get the F off of my field game, where the last couple plays of the game was just a heave down the field, Nakamura. I think he was all of like 5'8", maybe.
He almost caught that thing too. He was close. Was that the same game that what was his name? The guy from Appalachian State. He was a quarterback at App State. We drafted him to be a punter. Everybody, he's a hometown. I think he caught his one touchdown in the NFL that game, or almost a touchdown. It wasn't. He caught like a 70-yard bomb, and somebody chased him down. That's what it was,
And
like
that's
on the 5.
You're right. And that's the dude, I can't remember his name, but that's the guy that Marty Hurdy traded back into the second round to get.
Somebody will get it on YouTube, I bet.
Somebody will. Oh, yeah.
It was Amari Cooper. No, something with an A, I think. All right, back to the wide receivers. So Joey, we're split. I think I'm leaning towards what Joey's saying, is that alone the wide receivers last year were questionable, just like the defensive backs. But as a whole, the offense of the Carolina Panthers going into the preseason or into the season was very questionable. Armani Edwards, that's who it was.
There you go.
That's it.
Good
Guys
catch.
from State.
So tell me about this. Kelvin Benjamin returns. Devin Funchess. Are you buying the Devin Funchess? Is the Devin Funchess hype real?
I think it is. If you remember last year, I chimed in and I said I think eventually Funchess is going to be our number one wide receiver, and I think he's got the ability to do it. I mean, that guy is just an animal waiting to be uncaged. I really believe that he's going to have a coming out party. If not this year, the following year, he's going to grow and I think he may even overtake KB.
Joey, you believe that? I can't believe that.
Save this clip.
I think he could potentially be a more athletic version of KB. He seems to have more speed, more natural fluidity to his movements. He's got the height. He's got the vertical jumping ability. And, he's a pretty big guy too, but I just think he's a little more athletic than KB. Now,
Certainly.
KB isn't all just big. You know what I'm saying? He does have some good hand-eye coordination, some good timing on his jumps, that sort of thing. I just think the potential for Funchess is he has a higher ceiling.
Do you think that the way I see it is Kelvin Benjamin is going to have a better career in the short term, while Funchess, I think Funchess' athleticism might help him adjust when he starts to slow a little bit. And not that he's a burner anyway, but receivers have to change any player has to start to change their game as they get deeper into their career. You can't just do the same mess that you did when you were 22, when you're 32.
Yeah. Ask Steve Smith that one, right?
Yeah, I mean you do. You have to change the game, and it's easier for guys that have the physical attributes of the size and the athleticism. I mean, a guy like Steve Smith, how do you change your game when your game didn't fit in the first place?
Right.
I mean, now. So I think Kelvin Benjamin is just more where at least he just looks like he's more physical.
I think he is, clearly.
Yeah, but
I was watching some of his touchdown catches from his rookie year, and I was just like, man, this kid didn't know anything. He was just not knowing anything.
He was just a big monster out there.
Yeah,
that's it. So he's our number one receiver, just as a fit. Is Devin Funchess the lock to be the starting number 2, you think?
I feel like he is, yes.
Do you think it's because he deserves it? Do you think he deserves it, or that they want him to be? I think he deserves. I think that, who else are you gonna put? Tell me. All right, let's put it this way: who else should on this team get a start over him?
Well, I think Funchess should get it, but I'm gonna say the ones that would be in consideration is the guy who had the best chemistry with Cam Newton last year. Probably should settle into the number 3 spot this year, which is Ted Ginn. That guy had great, but did he not have great chemistry with Cam last year? Is he going
to have great chemistry with this thing called the football?
Right. I watched the game against the Colts.
He changes the defense though, whether he catches it or
He
not.
does. And there are times where you see him make an all-hands catch, and you're just like,
Where's
oh my
that?
God, that was so beautiful.
Yeah.
And then you
No.
see him put him in the hands and bounce right
That's
off.
what I'm hoping. Damir Bird is Ted Ginn 2.0.
No, I hope he's better. Oh
Well,
my
That's
God.
what 2.0 is, brother. Right?
Is it?
Speed.
Is it improved? Does that mean like version? Okay,
Yeah.
I get you that. Like you got your update.
Yeah.
Well, let's hope he's not like Windows 10.
Exactly.
Ruin my damn computer in February, and I can't do
ISA.
nothing about it. Oh, all right, so keep going, Joey. You had you're right. Is that was it? There was a couple of games where Ted Ginn actually did, like he stopped thinking for a second.
Mhm.
Just play football.
And he caught the ball with his hands.
Mhm.
There was one where I forget what game it was. They threw it to him on the sidelines, and it was an all-hands catch. But here's the thing. I know you guys are going to say chemistry this and that he changes defense and this mess and that. But if you go back and look at the catches that he did make, I'm going to say like 65 to 75% of them, he bobbled or it looked like he was on the verge of dropping it.
He looked like Britton Burson catching a punt.
He is. He looked like me when I go bowling, and I get like any time that I need to try to. And I don't bowl. We used to bowl in a league like for a restaurant I worked at, and I would bowl all right until it mattered. I gotta knock that 2 pins down. Gutter. Oh my God, just right in my head. So I would just get hammered, and that would help because then you're like just.
Doesn't matter.
So maybe should we start a Ted Ginn should drink movement?
Or we
Ted Ginn Jr.
Ooh. You could have to drink some gin every time Ted Ginn drops a ball.
Or catches it.
Or catches it, either one. At that point, who cares?
Okay, so let's we gotta stay on. I'm sorry, I've been taking us all off, but it is rest time this week.
It is.
KB start. We think that Funchess is the number 2, but you could potentially say that Ginn is, because of veteran status, because of what he's meant to the team in two out of 3 seasons, that is something that he's definitely going to be on this team, we think. So then you go to 4 and 5. Let me ask you first, do we carry 5 receivers into the season or 6?
Man, there's 14 of them out there vying for the positions.
I'm trying to see what we went in with last year. I had a document that had it not. Keep going.
I think what it boils down to is between the defensive backs versus the wide receivers, which ones can do special teams as well. If you could do special teams, like Damir Bird can also return punts, he's going to have a better shot of making that roster spot, as opposed to that safety who does not play special teams, for example. So I'm saying they're going to go 6.
Joey, 5 or 6?
I'm going to say 6 just in case anything comes up right at the start of the season, whether it be injury or...
So who are they, Joe? Who do you think they are?
There's the $64,000 question.
All right, I think, if I may be wrong, was Britton Burson, if somebody could answer this, was Britton Burson active in a lot of games last year or not?
He was active. I don't know how many games, but they're talking about...
I don't know if it was a lot, but I know he made some plays for us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here are guys that didn't make the team last. This was we had going into camp last year. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 receivers last year.
Okay.
The people that got cut at the 75, I believe, or maybe a little later, were not cut. Jarrett Boykin was one that was gone early.
Yes.
Stephen Hill with an injury. DeAndre Presley was gone. And then Damir Bird didn't make the team. Mike Brown didn't make the team.
Damir
Here's
Bird
who
was a
I'm-
late cut, though, wasn't he?
He was. And Kevin Norwood, was he on the roster but not active most of the time?
Well, we traded for him early, like after week 1, I think it was, week 1 or 2. We traded for him with Seattle, and then we brought him in, and he dropped a pass, and he was in the doghouse the rest of the
In
year.
the first game, right?
Yeah.
We were at that game, Joey, I think. Or somebody.
Who,
I was at that game. Was it the Jacksonville game?
No,
I think
it was.
so.
I think it was the first game in Carolina that he dropped the ball.
Okay. Oh, I was at that. I think I went to 2 games in a row. I had a good year last year.
Yeah.
Okay. So Devin Funchess made the team last year. Philly Brown made the team out of training camp. Kotry
That's
made the
another
team.
guy. That's another guy that could be the starter.
We're gonna get to him. Funchess, Benjamin, Brown, and I know Benjamin was on IR, so they took into the season Funchess, Brown, Kotry, Ginn, and then you're gonna say Burson. They had 5 last year if you don't count Norwood. So if you have better guys this year, right? I mean, like seriously, you have better talent. I think the number is 6 this year. So we got Benjamin, we got Funchess, we got Ginn. Number 4 and 5. Who tell me Philly Brown? I think gets the 4 spot on the list. I'm not saying he makes the team,
Right.
but who's 4 and 5? 4, 5, and 6. You tell me those names. I think it's Philly Brown, Stephen Hill, and Damir Bird. Is Kevin Norwood on the streets again? I think so.
Yeah, and don't forget about Key Garrett, who will probably end up.
I forgot about him already.
Yeah, jeez. Don't forget about him now. He'll probably will be on the practice squad, but he's going to be a player. He was the nation's leading receiver last year.
Okay, so but how many active we have? Say we have 5 active then. All right, let's start with the worst case scenario or the lowest number. Who are the 5? KB, Funchess, Benjamin. Who's number 4, Joey?
You said 2 of the same guys. You said KB, Funchess, and Benjamin. So
yeah,
it's gonna be KB, Funchess,
Ginn. Okay.
and then Brown, I think, because he made some real big plays last year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's 4. That's 4.
So
Shoulder
that's 4.
injury last year.
He
Shoulder
did.
surgery in
So
the off
He
season.
did.
So if you only
He
got
missed
5,
some games.
so if you only got 5, who makes the number 5 spot between Stephen Hill and Damir Bird?
T Money says Norwood was on the roster, just not active, kind of
Okay.
like Weger was.
Right.
So you're saying Brown. Who's number 5, Joey?
I gotta
Norwood,
between
Hill, or Bird?
I gotta go Hill.
Yeah, I'm Hill all day. I think he's our number 4.
He could be. He could be with Brown coming in, rounding up the group at 5.
Do you think that we've seen? Do you think Philly Brown has played to the best of his ability? And I'm not saying like he hasn't. Like I'm actually thinking he has played as hard and as well as he probably can.
Right, you're saying we've seen maximum effort from him, and we won't be able to get any more than what we've seen to this point. I tell you, man, when it comes down to, everything being equal, you always go with the bigger guy. I think that's
Right.
just how it is. And, Damir Bird is definitely an interesting player, but you can't coach 6'4", 220 pounds. You know what I'm saying?
Not at all.
You can't coach that into somebody.
Well, to me, I think it might even come down to you got 3 of the same guys to pick 2 from: Ted Ginn, Philly Brown, Damir Bird. Does Bird beat out either one of those other two?
I don't think he could beat out Ginn. He could beat out Brown. And I say not Ginn because I think Ginn has the years on him, the seasoning.
I think you're right. I agree with you. I think if he's going to make the team, he has to beat out Philly Brown.
Right.
I'm so torn over this because is it a fair competition then if you can't beat out Ginn? Like, my thing is this, is that can Brown and Bird theoretically beat out Ginn if they did it? Say they actually went to camp and outperformed Ginn. I feel like he's in a spot to where the team won't part with him. And I don't know how I feel about that. Also, I think there is a chance that Brown doesn't make the team. I think it's an outside chance. But it's not like anybody else is going to be particularly clamoring over him. He hasn't been necessarily. He's been better than he should have been.
I would agree with that. And not only that, but
we got to give him some props for that.
We're not backed into a corner where we have to take him either. It's like we have options, and now that we have options, that changes his value.
Some cool interesting comments on Twitter. Lynn says she wants to see a fullback make it and an extra tight end, which we're gonna have to really look into that. Not an extra tight end. She just said a tight end making it, but we're gonna need some depth there. So she's saying cut down on wide receiver. That would put us at 5. Misty Russell 81 said, talking about our drinking game, that would kill us all. A shot of gin for every drop. Her liver is cringing. And T-Money doesn't like Bird. I don't know why. He says this. He says, KB, Funchess, Teddy, Philly, Hill, Bird, and Garrett. I don't know why you like some of those other dudes either. That's what I'm going to say. Other than that, they wear the black and the blue. All right. So I'm going to say that I think that Bird could possibly edge out Brown. It's a long shot, I know. But I think Bird has an upside that, here's the thing, is if everybody is 6 foot tall and can run fast, maybe we need something that can mix it up. We don't really have a lot of confidence in Philly Brown on special teams. Maybe Tamir Bird can offer something there. I don't know if they're concerned about his small stature of him like dying if he returned punts or something. Is there a liability there? Do they have like insurance for that?
They do have insurance for them, yes. But I think the players have to buy it themselves. It's not like the team takes it out on them.
So if you died on the field, the team doesn't have like a homeowner's insurance, probably like a stadium insurance.
They have what they have to pay the player, whatever was guaranteed in monies. The team doesn't get reimbursed in any way.
Here's the thing: are we totally off? Is Britton Burson making this team over Stephen Hill, over Damir Bird, and maybe even Philly Brown?
But hey, Carolina Abby on Twitter points out that Burson is eligible for the practice squad again.
Really? How many years has he been in the league?
Well, they say if you grew up next to the owner, you can have as many practice squad years as you need. No, seriously, they wrote about it on I think it was Carolina Huddle today, that he's had 2 years on it. You can have one exception player that's had 2 years and go back to our third, and that would be Burson.
Oh, speaking of the Huddle, I might ice him up a little bit. I've already iced him up once. He put out, for all the people that turn their nose up at other people, he put out one of the hottest take stories about how at the ESPYs they didn't show the #1 football player award, and he put out a story, did ESPN shun or diss Cam Newton, and they didn't do any of the best player for their sport awards, and it was totally a slow news cycle. But we got to get out of here, guys. So it's time to offer up our ice up picks for the week, and I need you guys to go first because I've got so many I've got to choose from.
You want to go first, Joe, or you want me to go?
No, I'll go. I don't really have anything written down, but, you know, these guys are able to play a game and get paid a ton of money for it. There comes a certain point in your career where you have to wonder, you know, is it worth me taking the money and going out and putting in the effort that's required for me to put in to try to be the best I can be? And sometimes I guess you get sort of desensitized to it because, you know, you have made so much money over the course of however long you've been playing. But I want to ice up this week. The guy I want to ice up is Reggie Bush.
Nice.
Reggie Bush, I'm icing him up because the Bills went and offered him a contract. You know, they realize they need a change of pace back. Or they feel they do, and he met what they were looking for in a change of pace back. Well, he still hasn't responded, as far as I know, to their offer. And I think he's just thinking to himself, you know, do I want to put in all this effort, take this money that I'm sure is not exactly what he wants, to go and play for a team that's probably not going to make the playoffs again.
I wish he would come shadow us at work, Joey.
I know, that's what I'm saying, is I really wish, you know, he hasn't been in the league so long and been moved around so much that he actually would consider not accepting somebody's offer to play this game that you supposedly love. And that just shows me that he doesn't love it. He doesn't have it.
I agree.
Absolutely.
And so I'm icing him up because there are kids out there that would do anything for the opportunity he's been presented with, and he's basically just turning his nose. So Reggie Bush, please, all week long, I want you to think about this and ice up. So.
But get on the practice field and get some real ice afterwards.
But you know, ever since he got that big payday back at USC, he hasn't been the same player.
You know, it makes me think when you bring that up, Joey, I think about guys like maybe even somebody that we shine on a little bit, and that is the Britton Bursons.
Yeah.
You know, guys that are working really hard and didn't have maybe the same physical skill set, or didn't have the hype, or didn't have the 401k coming into the league already developed. And, you know, that makes a lot of sense. But to add to that ice up, Joey, Reggie Bush has sucked in the NFL, too.
I know. He had a few good years with the Saints. But
and they were just okay. They were better than bad.
And
they were good.
People thought the Texans were crazy for passing on him as the number 1 overall pick.
Yep. And then, who would have known that you pick some dude who's going to play defense for the next decade at a high level out of some podunk-ass farming school?
What? Say what? Where'd it go? Where'd that number 1 pick go? No, it's all right. They know. You can say it.
That's all right. He went to Houston from NC State.
Yes,
Dang
sir.
you. But guess
Super
what?
Mario.
ECU beat you in Erickson Stadium.
All
right, Joe. Joe, that was a good ice up pick, and he's been underwhelming.
Yes, definitely.
Underwhelming.
Him with all that talent, and you know, he wasn't willing to put in the work. I don't think.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that what he's been whelming.
That's it. He's been whelming.
Yeah.
He was a whelming player.
Okay, Mel, you got a nice up pick for us?
I do, and once again this week I'm going outside of the world of sports, and I'm going to talk about how our society has just gone into a whole zombie apocalypse type of mode. You walk around and you see people staring into their phones like there's no tomorrow. I mean, you go to church, people are staring at their phones. You go to the movies, people are staring at their phones at the movies.
Go, go. Pokemon's gotta go.
Wait a minute. Wait, well, you think that's where I'm going? Maybe, but you know, I see baseball games where there's like a whole section of people that miss an entire home run because they're staring at their stupid phone. You know, and I think we're all guilty of it to a degree, right? But that's a mission of mine, is to always stay focused on what's going on in life. But I tell you, it has really stepped up to the next level now with this Pokemon Go. I tell you, you've got Pikachu here, right? For all you folks out there, can you see that?
Nice, my man printed it off.
There you go. Hey, you know,
Pikachu.
yeah. Now check this out. Check it out. You got another one here, little Ninja Turtle.
That's a Ninja Turtle. Okay.
All right, but hey, I want to. He's one of the guys, I think. Anyway.
No, he don't got nothing to do with Pokemon.
Well, he was in the same story. I got this story off the internet. I want to read these couple paragraphs here.
Okay.
All right. Over the weekend, 4 players were lucky to walk or drive away with their lives in 2 separate incidents. The first involved 2 teenagers in Orlando who were driving around at 1:30 a.m. searching for a new Pokemon to catch. They managed to wake up a man living in Palm Coast area who heard one of the teens outside of the house saying, "Hey, did you get anything?" His understandable conclusion of this exchange was that the teenagers had just managed to break into his home and steal something. So he grabbed his handgun and went outside where the teens were sitting in their car. He stood in front of the car, raised a gun, and told them to remain where they were. Instead, the driver floored it.
Nice.
Took off.
This is Joey.
He forced the driver to move out of the way and then fired into the back of the car. Luckily, his shots only hit the bodywork and none of the drivers. The second incident, which is even more of my favorite here, the second incident happened in Encinitas, California. 2 men were hunting for Pokemon, and they were so engrossed in this go-at that they walked right past a no trespassing sign. And then,
I thought he was going to say a transvestite.
Me too.
Well, that wasn't. Yeah, well, you know. And then they also passed a do not cross sign. And both of them went over the edge, over the cliff. One of them catching a limb on his way down and was okay. The other one, he survived, but he fell 90 feet off the cliff.
Holy cow!
90 feet. All right, so as this writer goes on to say, stupid is as stupid does. You know, people.
All right.
There's a great world out there. There's reality all around you, and Pikachu is not a part of it. So, embrace those that are around you. Enjoy the days that you have.
I want to tell him.
For all you Pokemon hunters out there, please ice up, son.
I hope that T-Buddy is still watching, because I'm part of this group that they started.
Somebody's gonna ice me up for calling the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
Yeah. And so these cats got this discussion group on Twitter that says, it's like called "Don't Be So Sensitive," and they're part of the TTC. If I was gonna classify like the culture, it's like an urban culture. You know, they follow football. They're on YouTube. They trash talk each other and stuff. And I'm looking at it, and so I would classify these dudes as like not soft. How about that? Right?
Right.
And because I can't describe them the other way, so this one cat goes, and then I'm swear, because I get so many of these DMs, I try to keep up with them, I can't. and he said something like, "Hey, I saw you got on that Pokemon Go," and this cat said, "What you know about that Pokemon life?" And I was like, "I'm sorry, but I thought y'all cats had a little edge to you. Not no more. Not no more."
Not no more. Oh, jeez.
To bring this into another angle to this, Mel, I have no idea what this Pokemon mess is. We downloaded it yesterday with my kids because my son wanted it so bad. So we went out looking for Pokemon as a family. Like, we went on a walk. And I will say this, it had me as an adult not paying attention to crap. Like,
well,
but here in Greenville, Mel, here's another thing: is some cats were walking around, 30 of them or something, like they roll around in Pikachu packs, and they found somebody that was attacking this dude and a stabbing, and they saved this dude. Basically, they called the cops, they called the ambulance, and they took care of this dude while the police came. So while one cat's walking off a cliff, another one is saving a life.
There you go.
So
it's not all bad.
All right. Here is my ice up pick. First, I think I'm just gonna ice up terrorists every week. Like, it's just the running gig. But I'm gonna ice up this cat named Don Lemon, who is on CNN.
Darn Lemon?
Don,
Oh,
D-O-N, Lemon.
Okay, gotcha.
And he had the Wisconsin sheriff who has been doing all the talks for the Republicans, who reminds me so much of an actor that it's not from The Wire. I'm pretty sure that this may not be a sheriff, but he really is a Hollywood actor playing the part of a sheriff. But I could be wrong on that. So this guy, Don Lemon, has him on to talk about the shootings in Baton Rouge and all of this. And this sheriff, who's a black guy, is hardcore on some mess. Like, he is anti the Black Lives Matter movement, and he thinks that this is all a farce for hate and this and that, which I don't care about either one of these positions. But this Don Lemon dude asked this sheriff, his name was David Clark is the name of the sheriff. He asked him a question, and the guy didn't give him an answer he liked. So he was like, "No, we're not talking about that." And he was like, and I'm to give the sheriff some credit. He was intimidating. He's got this low voice and stuff, but he didn't raise his voice. He didn't get all crazy. But this Don Lemon dude was like, "That's not what I thought you were gonna say." Basically, that's not what I wanted to talk about. And the guy is like, "No, I don't." And he was like, "This is what I think. And this is what I think." And he was the guest on the show. And he said, "Well, if you can't have a civil conversation, we can't have it. You can leave," the guy said. And then he went to a commercial break intentionally. My whole point is my man got this dude on the show, tried to get this guy who was a representative of law enforcement, was a black dude and this and that, and he didn't give him the answers he wanted. And he was like, "We're going to commercial break." So, Mr. Don Lemon, you got to work on them interviewing skills. You got to learn how to navigate some people that don't answer your questions like you're supposed to expect it. Like you expected it. And if you want some schooling on that, I'll be happy to give it to you because the professor gives great interviews. So to you, Mr. Don Lemonade, ice up.
Nice.
All right.
Well done.
This is the C3 podcast, guys, and Mel Mayock, tell them what you got going on and how they can get up with you.
You can catch me anytime on Twitter at Panthers Drafter. Biggest thing coming down the pipe right now for C3 football, people hit me up every day, is the C3 Fantasy Football League. The new promo video is out, done by the professor. It is hot, but
It is hot.
we do not sign up for it. You cannot sign up until later this week, maybe even this week.
Yeah, I'm going to send out the VIP. I think I'm going to try to get it all up tomorrow. Some little girl, some lady on Twitter who is soon-to-be fan of the C3 podcast and a member of the C3 family was like, I'm signing up tomorrow, because I did tell her I thought that it was going to be open on Wednesday about a week ago. Yeah. So I guess I put a deadline on myself. Joe Riolano down in South Carolina. Tell them how they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter at Joe Riolano. And again, I ask you, if you know any Saints fans, I'm sure you do, to make sure to mention the Under the Dome podcast. It debuts tomorrow. It is two absolutely avid Saints fans that are football knowledgeable and don't talk about things you don't know. They're very knowledgeable when it comes to the Saints and the NFC South in general. You can follow them on Twitter at Under the Dome Podcast. Okay, they're on Facebook. They're all over. So please go and mention them to your Saints fans, friends, and let's help to build this fan-first production so we can cover more of the teams that we love and we interact with on an annual basis. Go Panthers.
That's right. My name is Tony Dunn. This is the C3 Podcast. You can check us out every Tuesday night, 10 p.m. And if you can't make it for the live show where you get to interact on Twitter, you get to interact on YouTube, you can check us out on iTunes. Check us out on Stitcher. We appreciate every single one of you. Thank you for listening. Give us a share. Give us a say hello. I'd love to hear from you guys. And we'll see you next Tuesday night. Until then, remember, the big cat is like a Roman Caesar. Until next week, when we get with, we'll be bird watching. See you then.